there's been no results, right? So just sorry to them, and I don't know. We gotta figure it out somehow, some way. That's it.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 1 for Week 5. My guest at this time is Rossy of Leviatan, this time coming off of their match against NRG, in which they came out on the losing end and thus getting subsequently eliminated from a playoff contention. And so, Rossy, thank you so much for the opportunity. Tough way to
No,
go
thank you.
down, and pretty devastating to not make playoffs at the final hurdle. But still, gotta ask you the obvious first question. How are you feeling? What's going through your mind?
Obviously, don't feel great. Just, I mean, I played like my worst series that I played in probably like 2 years or something like that, and yeah, it wasn't good at all. And it was just honestly just like a complete crumble from me, and like on an individual level and as an IGL level. So yeah, I mean, I feel like you could watch the game, you could see that we played. I mean, a fracture was okay, but there was a lot of like bad decisions, and I would say a lot of that stuff was on me, and just I didn't really play well at all either. So I would just say right now, overall, don't feel great, but just honestly, overall, very disappointed in myself because I have not played like this in a very long time, and it sucks to when it comes matters most. And yeah, it just honestly let down my teammates, and I feel very bad for them. And there's no excuse for it, regardless of whatever. Uh, there's no excuses, just as plain and simple.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I could definitely understand the state that you're in regarding the mindset and what happened today. I mean, obviously, like going into fracture and also well, moving going from fracture into icebox. Obviously, the momentum started to shift into NRG's favor once fractures was won by them at your hands. And like, I mean, what do you think this kind of like caused the shift in momentum from your point of view on top of just having to like go through NRG's kind of like changing in strategy specifically on Icebox, but still from your point of view, what do you think was the biggest cause?
I mean, I feel like we reset pretty well. It just didn't really help that they won. I believe they won every pistol in the game, and then the last one they won the bonus. So they just, like fracture. I mean, it felt like whenever we played the rounds good, like we were much better than them. But Icebox attack side was really bad, and that's 100% on me. So it's my fault for that, and I apologize. So is fracture attack. Just both the attack sides were pretty honestly miserable, and a lot of it, and almost all of it is on me. So I don't really think there was much momentum change in my opinion. It's just we just didn't play good. We have experienced players. We reset pretty well. We weren't like devastated or anything like that. And just with the lack of pistols, definitely didn't help either.
I mean, you kind of been mentioning it time and time again so far in this conversation about like just you not having a good day. Just gotta ask you, like, what do you think just kind of went not right for you?
There's many reasons, but there's no point in me saying them because there's just an excuse at the end of the day. So that's all it is. I just had a bad day, and that's all it is. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just there's no excuse for it. It's just bad, and no, I don't think anyone really cares about the excuse, and
No,
I don't either. I don't care about saying it either.
yeah, at the end of the day, you just got to move on from today and just kind of move forward into the future. And like, obviously, like, despite this result, I mean, at the very least, the fact that you guys were able to come to this situation last day of the regular season, still be in the fight of playoff contention, just goes to show like where the team is currently at, despite all of the changes that have been happening so far in this stage. Your inclusion, all the constant role changes and the like. It goes to show like where the team is at. Looking back onto this stage so far, what do you feel has been the biggest takeaway that you can kind of look at and say, okay, this and this and this and that happened, but at the very least we did this, and we can kind of like build with this in mind for the future.
We finally understand the meta, and that took us a really long time. So that was very important. So we actually understand the meta, and we're just gonna get more and more time to just prepare because we're just band-aid fixing constantly, week after week, and just not having enough time. And that's really just the issues of just like being behind the meta at first, and then trying to catch up to it, and just playing catch up the whole time. And then yeah, it just doesn't allow you to have for bad days or anything like that. And you're just everyone's ahead of you at all times, so you just gotta do your best. And that's what it is. We're just gonna have to use this time to work really hard and come back into split two, which is the only choice that we have now. We can't really reminisce. The split one is over, right? So
Do you feel like, with what you just said just now, like the team basically had to start off the stage one literally from behind, and it kind of felt that way the entire way? Did you kind of feel like that?
I would say even we start off behind until we always been behind and we still are, but I mean that's on me and the coaching staff, honestly. So I would say we started. We finally understood the meta after week 2. Lost to C9. We just started understanding it after. But even then, we're still like we still learning things consistently. Like even in the after the 4th week from G2, we like got another epiphany and learned so much more. We are just constantly playing catch up the whole time, and that's just mainly on me, I'd say.
I mean, obviously, like, I mean, many people kind of look at Leviathan and how you guys had to go through plenty of obstacles in the stage one and say, like, okay, sure, you guys didn't make playoffs, but at the very least, you guys were able to fight to the very end. And, for you in particular, Rossy, you've been able to just sort of like play as best as you could with the hand that you've been dealt. And like, I mean, for you in particular, just focusing on yourself, Rossi, how do you kind of look back on stage one for you, just kind of being put into a new team, trying to learn the system, trying to put your things into the system, and yeah.
Uh, I don't really know how much I truthfully learned, just
Mhm.
because just so behind everything. Just playing catch up the whole time. You don't really learn much. You're just I don't even there's no like like we don't really have like a real system or like real much things like that. It's just we just there's a lot of things that would need to be fixed, and I feel like overall to look at the sum up this split one, it was just we were just always constantly telling ourselves we just need to keep buying time with wins or trying to get wins so we could buy more time to catch up. Um, but regardless, the split one, I just learned that I need to do better. That's really it. This is the worst split I mean, this is the worst I played. I mean, I'd say I played pretty decent throughout between every series besides this series. Honestly, I would say individually, but the one that mattered most, which is now, and everyone knows you're only as good as your last series. So this series, we went from looking, or from prior to series, we looked like, oh, we can actually be a competent team against G2, to now looking not so great, and that's partly on me. So I just need to focus on being the better IGL or best IGL I can be, and just keep learning and do my best when it comes to these things, and just being better for my teammates in every single way because I absolutely failed them today, and that's the only thing I learned from the split is that I failed them today, and I need to make sure that never happens again. That's the only thing I learned, I'd say.
No, no, yeah, yeah, and like, I mean, you kind of been saying it just right then and there, just sort of like the frustration more so just kind of reaches at its very peak, given that, the chance was there, and you guys weren't able to do it on the day. It kind of feels like that 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 frustration as well. Just with all that considered, right?
No, it's more like there's a lot of frustration and stress throughout our whole season. But this has definitely been the most stressful uh, split I've ever had, or just honestly in esports I've ever had, just because of how many things were going on. Just I mean, obviously behind the scenes and doing things, but regardless of that, it just I need to manage it better and just do better. That's simple as that. Just do better. It doesn't matter how stressful it is, no matter how much catch up you need to do. It doesn't matter about any of those stuff. We just need to get the results, and that's all the fans care about, and that's what all the organization cares about, and everyone cares about, right? So, at the end of the day, we didn't bring results, and we failed. That's it, and that's a lot of part on me. Like I'll keep saying.
No, for sure. And like obviously like silver lining is that you guys have another chance to rectify, the mistakes that you've suffered in stage one and stage two. And hopefully you're able to you and the rest of Leviathan can do that. I got one more question. Well, not really one more question, more so just sort of like you giving final words to the fans as to the kind of things, they should expect out of yourself and the rest of the team. You got any final words to give?
Sorry to everyone. That's it.
For sure, short and concise. Definitely understand.
Not as much to say. I just try to show it with actions. I can say that we're going to work harder, do all these things, but we have been working hard. We have been doing all these things, and and there's been no results, right? So just sorry to them, and I don't know. We got to figure it out somehow, some way. That's it.
Definitely understand. And Rossi, thank you so much for the opportunity once again, despite what just went down. Really do appreciate it, nevertheless. And of course, best of luck goes to you for stage two and everything else beyond that, man.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.